let's switch gears a little bit and look at the Legacy Fort Wayne or the Light Lease Trust Fund that we're going to be coming into hopefully this year. What are your ideas on how that should be spent, invested? What do you think?
Well, there's just so many areas that you can talk about, and I think that you have to have two main areas in mind when you talk about that money. I think number one is economic development, and I think number two would be a rainy day fund. When you really start thinking about the interest that you can gain off of that money, I do think that you have to hold a certain amount of that back. As far as the businesses coming into Fort Wayne, there could be different incentives you could use with that. But once again, being a Republican and trying to keep business smaller and giving more directly to the hands of the small businessman, I'm not sure how much money we should do in that particular area. But you could prioritize that money, put it in sections for neighborhoods, for businesses, for economic development around Harrison Square, rainy day fund, infrastructure. There's so many areas, and there's so many people talking about it that we'll just have to see where really that's going to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about public and private partnerships. Harrison Square is an example of that downtown here, Fort Wayne. Where do you stand on using public money for private partnerships or projects or things like that we want to do in Fort Wayne?
Well, I definitely think that that government is needed in certain circumstances where the private sector and the private companies and private enterprise can't do the job. But I think that you've got to have tax incentives, but also you need to look a little bit closer at the companies that you're going to work with on let's say, abatement processes. From what I understand, they have been passed by City Council, and I think you need to more scrutiny in that particular area as to the background of that company, how long they're going to work on the job, how many employees they're going to bring into the city. And I think that there needs to be a relationship there between government, if it's needed, in those particular areas.
Tax abatements, are you in favor of rescinding a tax abatement if the company isn't performing up to the standards they agreed to?
I think that there should be, once again, more scrutinizing of that particular company coming in, and I'm not sure if you can pull back or rescind on those abatements, because nobody has a vision of what's going to happen in the future. There's could be a bumpy road or a smooth road, but once again, I think on the proactive side that you do have to talk to that company and possibly give them more incentives if they're going to come in, if they're going to be here for a certain amount of time. And let's say somebody's going to bring in 150 employees and continue to grow that company. I think you should look at that as far as an incentive, as opposed to maybe a smaller company that's just sitting there and not doing anything.
Let's say next week you're successful, and you are successful in November, and you're elected to City Council. What would you hope to accomplish?
Well, I would like to accomplish, once again, sitting at the City Council table, first of all, a good working relationship among the council. I would certainly want to represent all districts in Fort Wayne, have a good working relationship with Fort Wayne. Taking it outside of the City Council table, I think we need more transparency between the City Council and the Mayor's office, communication, make sound decisions at the City Council table, get into the schools, talk a little bit to the government classes, let them know about City Council, maybe try to work with our young people here in Fort Wayne that are at the universities, where they can have internship programs that could possibly coordinate with our businesses, kind of get City Council out of that particular room, more out into the community, and I would hope that I could be a resource to help do that.
Are there any other issues that we didn't talk about that you would like to talk about or mention?
Oh, I think we've talked about quite a few of the issues here in Fort Wayne. We didn't talk a lot about spending. It seems that our government is continuously getting larger, not only on the federal level but on the local level. And I think that we all have to be watchdogs for spending and to be more fiscal, I think, in our decisions as we sit at the city council table, and use the taxpayers' dollars wisely. I think sometimes we have too many committees and too many counselors, so to speak, or resource people that we're paying, with our tax dollars. So didn't talk a lot about the budget and the money, and I think we constantly need to be watchdogs in that area.
Is that one of those areas that maybe needs to be worked on with City Council and the administration? Right now, a lot of what City Council does is driven by the administration. They bring the spending bills down. City Council scrutinizes them to a degree and either passes them or doesn't. Is that something maybe that needs to be looked at as far as involving City Council earlier in the process?
Well, I think the cutoff point now for contractors is $75,000. So, that's hard to say. Not sitting on the city council, but I certainly feel that there can be improvement in that area as far as communication with private contractors and city government.
Is there a danger of becoming micromanagers on City Council in that respect?
Well, once again, you don't really want to consider yourself a micromanager. I don't think you need to set the groundwork or the foundation, I think, for any private enterprise or any business. Set the environment for that particular business and help. Once again, when private enterprise can't do the job, government comes in. And I think you can be too much of a micromanager if you get too involved with businesses, because going back to what we talked about earlier, the belly of your government is your infrastructure, your public safety, and keeping your crime down in your city.
Sure. Anything else you'd like to add, Tom?
No, Steve, I sure appreciate the interview. It's been a pleasure being here, and hopefully this will help us in our new elections, and good luck to all the candidates, and I think it's going to be an exciting election season.
And good luck to you as well.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thank you for your time.